Welcome back to Digi Bros, everybody.
Welcome the fuck back.
Victor, what have you been thinking about while I've been on a long political tirade for the whole last episode?
Well, first, we are at a point in the game now where we should probably dick around and get a bunch of items.
Sounds like a good time.
And I was like, should we do that? Is that going to take up a bunch of time that you don't want to spend?
Personally, that's my favorite part of every Zelda game. So.
That's what I should probably do so we don't end up fucked over on supplies.
Yeah, do it, man. Get some
Alright,
bottles and shit.
let's fuck around.
Bottles and cans and just clap your hands.
Let's get bottles, let's collect some fucking bugs, bitch, and some postals.
Yeah.
Let's get a big ass wallet.
To me, Zelda is all about the hidden treasures and adventures that you don't necessarily have to do.
Yes.
But that make the world feel more alive because there's more shit.
But now I can be a human or wolf whenever the fuck I want.
Probably talked about this plenty in. Why were you even a wolf just then?
So I could dig underground.
Oh.
And because you have to fight the pogo system.
Oh,
oh, fuck my shit.
That was gruesome looking. So, anyways, yeah. What were you saying? You're collecting shit.
Yeah, we gotta collect some shit.
Yeah. Okay. What else? What else were you thinking about?
I wasn't really thinking about anything else. I was really thinking about I was trying to get a drink, and that was my biggest priority.
Why didn't you just shut up so I can get a drink?
That is exactly how I was feeling.
Shuts up so I can get a drink.
And then I was just like, oh, it's been 20 minutes. It's about time I get a drink.
Yeah,
so I got one.
Me
I'm drinking San Pellegrino blood orange sparkling water drinks. It's pretty good. Sparkling juice.
Last night, Trevor left the band.
Yeah.
Trevor went back
Trevor's
to
in Florida.
So we finally the time we were talking about on the last show where everyone's gone and we can finally fucking just
as
relax
I've told
and
my
do
dad,
whatever we want.
the era of bros has ended.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
it could have. I mean, I don't think we'll ever have like it'll be years before we can get the entire crew to do a bro hike again.
Because I think by next summer we'll probably, or at least I'll be out of here.
To explain what we're talking about, in 3 years ago, me, Victor, and most of our friends and my dad all went on a hike up Mount Rogers, which is the tallest mountain in Virginia, and it's about a 7-hour drive from our house. But we went out. We got a log cabin the first night we stayed in, and then we hiked up the mountain the next day, stayed in a tent overnight, and hiked back down the mountain. And we called it the bro hike because my dad insisted on it. There's probably like 9 or 10 of us total.
Yeah.
And we have like this one. We passed through a town called Brosville.
Brosville.
And we took a picture of all of us on the Brosville sign.
The epic picture.
Which my dad like framed.
The classic.
For everybody. And then, but there was a couple people who were like missing on that trip. I don't remember exactly who.
Yeah.
But
Trevor wasn't there yet.
Yeah, Trevor wasn't around yet. Brandon Tolentino never goes on these because he's not a physical guy.
He's not a physical form.
He would do. Yeah, he's just a fucking gas giant. But most of our friends were there, and then the next year, and we had like timed it around because this was when Marcus had already joined the military, but it was like right after he had just finished basic training was when we did the first bro hike, and then the second one was timed around. Was it both? Did we not have? We didn't have Brando the second time, right?
No, he didn't go.
We had Brando the first and not the second, but the second time it was based on Marcus being on leave, and we had a bunch of the same people, a couple of different people, and we took another hike. This time not up to Mount Rogers, but up to a closer area.
Yeah. That
like we stayed in for like 3 or 4 days and like hiked some mountains and just walked around. It was super cool. We had a fucking sick cabin for that one.
Yeah. And that was and
we went
the
river
time
rafting.
we got to you didn't go to the peak, did you?
No, I didn't go to the peak.
When we got to the peak, it was all fogged and we couldn't see the view. It's supposed to be like the greatest view.
Right.
And we didn't even get to see it.
And hadn't it like rained like crazy the whole time we were
climbing? Yeah, it rained the whole way up, which was awesome. It was a fucking sweet hike. It was way better than the first hike in terms of like being rocky and like
I didn't
crazy and
I didn't
shit.
take that hike because we had gone on like a mini hike the day before. And like
you and Don Son were both
and I hadn't
spent.
like slept. Yeah.
Which you guys wouldn't have been able to make it anyways because there were a lot of like
lifting your body
weight
and shit.
upper body strength.
Which neither of us has any of. But like Yeah, so we did this bro hike 2 years in a row, and my dad was like super duper jizzed about it, you know, like both times. But then last year we didn't do one, and I don't remember. I guess it was just
Me and
we
Dad
never-
went on a hike by ourselves.
Right, but no one, like,
we
we
couldn't
didn't
get
have
everyone
everybody
together.
available. And then this year, like, there was, like, a few days window where both Marcus and Brando were here, and Dad was like, we gotta try to get a hike during those days. But it was, like, all at once was the time when BronyCon was happening, the time when Marcus was leaving, and Dad had, like, something he had to do at work. Like, it was just, like, just such a way that we couldn't quite do it. Not
fucked
BronyCon,
everyone
I meant
over.
Otakon, but, or did I say Otakon? I don't remember.
Yes.
But yeah, so we couldn't do the bro hike because we couldn't get the timing right, and so we just all went canoeing or kayaking instead. But my dad, like, he sees the bro hike as just the ultimate, like,
Yes.
adventure.
He
It's, like,
truly loves
a
it.
bunch of bros hanging out on a mountain, you know, and, like, he just thinks it's the coolest thing ever, and he always talks about it. But, like, Victor, my dad posted, like, a picture of all of us doing the bro hike 3 years ago, and Victor said the era of bros is over on Facebook, and my dad was
He
like,
was
no. But, like, it's at a point where, like, Marcus and Brando both have a while left in the military.
Yeah. Well, Marcus
Trevor-
gets out in, like, March.
Oh, does he?
I already did all this. What the
But
fuck?
isn't he gonna try to become, like, a National Guard or something like that afterwards?
Yeah, he's probably gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah.
He was saying he might go to, like, Florida or something.
Yeah, so Marcus and Brando are still in the military, and we might be moving eventually because Victor has to go somewhere for grad school.
Yeah, or just, you know, to live and work anyway. It's like,
Right.
this
This
sank
is not
in,
a place
it
to be a
sank in a
film
little bit, you know,
person.
today, because I made a LinkedIn and a Staff Me Up profile, which are, like, you know, what freelancers use to find work
Right.
around here usually. And it's like, there's a lot of work in, like, DC and, like, some work in North Carolina, but it's like, I'd have to travel 3 hours for any job, so I couldn't take a job more than, like, 1 day, because, like, I'd be fucked. And it's just like, I just can't work around here.
Yeah, there's not a lot of film work in Virginia Beach, and so Victor, for work eventually, no matter what, but especially if you're going to grad school, gotta move away. And then the rest of the family is considering moving with him, so we might just en masse move at some point, and then we won't be here. So yeah, the era of bros may well be at an end.
Yep. But I'm sure we'll still all keep in touch and we'll meet up individually at times. Because
Dude,
we're like a family.
Our life is going to turn into the
It's
song,
gonna become adult.
It's gonna turn into that fucking Jeff Rosenstock song. What the fuck is it called? Ah, shit. You in Weird Cities. That song.
But it kind of makes me
listen to that
understand,
song.
like, the way most people, like, find a spouse and then they just get really close to that one person
Right.
because
That's why
everyone
they do
else,
that.
you know,
Yeah.
leaves.
Well,
It's like, man,
most of
it's a
our
fucking
like
bummer.
like Nate and Ben are always like laughing at us for still hanging out with our high school friends. You know,
mean,
always
they're not
like, really. They
Quite
are our
high school friends to an extent.
They are our high school friends. We knew all of them in high school and we're friends with them in high school.
We didn't hang out with Josh, Tolentino, or Trevor at high school.
But we went to high school with all of them.
Yeah.
And we met them like within years of graduating. Like, and they knew the friends who introduced them to us were our high school friends.
But either fucking way, everyone would hang out with their high school friends if they didn't fucking suck and, like, they stuck around.
Right, but like, it's just funny that, you know, Ben and Nate are like, huh, you still hang out with your high school friends? Ugh. And I was like, yeah, I guess we do.
Well, fuck
but
you
it can't
guys.
last forever.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like, because most people make professional friends,
Yes.
like, post, like, after high school, you and your friends are all doing different shit, and you
I
don't
have
really have
professional
anything
friends.
to talk
I just
about.
don't want to fucking deal with any of them.
Right.
I just ignore them with a passion.
But, like, it just so happens that, like, you know, when I was in high school, I was really picky about my friends and only hung out with people who were generally into the same shit I was. But, like, yeah, I mean, we talked about this on the last show, that there was a period of time where, like, Donson and Mike started talking about cars all the time, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking talk about cars. Like, you know, who the fuck can I hang out with that I could talk to that's not about cars, or whatever the fuck everybody's into. But you know, I've got like, me and Boyd will always have shit to talk about because we've been into the same shit for 12 years, you know. But yeah, we have pretty cool friends, but we probably will barely keep in touch with them if we move.
I don't know. I feel like these days
you
with
might
Facebook
keep better
and
in
shit,
touch with them.
I don't keep in touch with people now. I'm gonna be really bad about that.
You text people though.
I don't text anyone but Hope. What are you talking about?
Well, you'll keep in touch.
I'll
with
keep
Hope.
in touch with her because I will fucking really try.
Right.
But I'm really horrible about it with everyone else, and I feel terrible. Shouldn't feel that bad because if I felt that bad, I would make more of a fucking effort, and I hate that that's the truth.
Well, personally, I easily see myself, if we move away, falling out of contact with most people.
Yeah.
I could see keeping.
But
in
I feel like, you know,
contact
we'll
with,
still meet up once in a while. We'll still catch up every now and then.
Right. But like the people I would keep up with, like I could easily see keeping up with Boyd because Boyd actually follows my content and like actually watches anime that I talk about. So like that's because that's the hardest thing for me about hanging out with friends is when none of them are following your content and your content's all you're thinking about.
Yes.
You know? Like earlier today, two of us went for a walk, and I didn't want to talk about anything that I knew we were going to talk about on Digi Bros.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is that, like, we used to go on walks and stuff, and now I'm just like, anytime we're alone, I don't want to talk about stuff that we could talk about here.
Yeah.
Because
Dude,
this has become our primary,
hilarious,
like, talking to each other situation.
Like, for real, me and Victor, like, eat out together, like, more than ever, because you actually have had money.
Yes.
And we will go out to eat, and we'll sit there, and we'll start having a conversation, and Victor will go, well, let's save this for Digi Bros, and then we both sit on our phone. But, like, I mean...
Which I don't mind, it's just, it would...
It's hilarious.
It would work more
It's
if we
fucking
didn't
hilarious.
hang out besides Digibros, but then we
Right.
do, and then it's like, I don't want to talk about anything.
Yeah.
It's very funny to me.
Like, yeah, when we went for that walk earlier, like, I almost started talking about the whole thing about the Devu and, like, his comment, and, like, but I was like, I really just want to do all of this on Digibros. Like, I want to give this whole
I didn't
rant.
wonder. I was like, you know, Conrad usually has something to rant about.
Right. Yeah. I had been saving that one up since, like, yesterday. And since I already talked about Nanoha with you, I already know that I don't have anything to say on Digibros about Nanoha that won't bore everyone to tears.
All right.
Other than Einhart is my favorite Nanoha.
Einhart von Hugendong.
No, our name's Einhart Stratos.
Yeah, I bet it fucking is.
God.
God fucking damn it, this is fucking 100 rupees. That's why I need to get a big wallet, god damn it. Let me find some bugs.
Yeah, I've come to realize, and I was telling you this earlier, but I've come to realize that I like doing big projects that kind of consume my
Yeah.
life because
I understand, because, you know, I have fun with those too when it's like my Vietnam paper, but then
Right.
I have to end those early before it really becomes anything good.
for me, like,
I've been tempted, like, when I did my Woody Allen paper and my Gangsters paper and this last paper where I'm just like, I should just keep writing about this because, like, I actually give a shit and I can actually, like, if I really went all the way and researched all this, I could do something good with it, but then it's like, what's the point? I don't make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna write a script.
I'd say for me, the ideal length for a project to take would be like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because when I do small like for me, like writing about something is a high, right?
Yes.
Like having something on my mind all the time and like really fleshing out the idea and my thoughts on it is like, I compared it one time, I explained it to Nate, I was like, writing something and realizing that what you're writing is good is exactly the same as getting a pump at the gym. It's like the same exact
Yeah.
emotion to me. So like, when I'm,
Just that
because, you know, I've
confidence.
had a pump before and I know how it feels, and like, that's exactly how I feel when I write something and I'm like, oh my god, I actually explained this. The biggest pump I ever got was with K-On! Where, like,
You set up Mass Erect.
dude, because with K-On!, like, it's not my favorite video I've ever written. That probably still goes to the Monogatari series. but like, or the Psychopaths one. But with K-On!, it was a series I'd never really been able to explain before. Like, I knew that I loved it, but it was so hard to explain why other than, like, the feels. So, when I started writing and, like, I would have, like, I would come up with these explanations that made sense to me and were like, yeah, that is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Then it was just, like, super fucking narpump. But, like...
Narpump!
Yeah. But, so when I do, like, a short video, then the pump is very fleeting and just kind of, like, you know, I do it and then it's gone and then it's already, like, thinking about, okay, well, now I gotta do another video, you know? Yeah. But when I've got, like, a project that's relatively big, like the Nanoha one, where it was, like, it's 3 videos, about a week and a half, like, of watching and writing for each one,
Ooh.
and, like... You know, I really keep thinking about it and fleshing it out in my mind and, like, getting more and more interested. And as long as it's, like, something I can keep writing about. Because the biggest problem with that whole 1991 project that I did, where I tried to watch every show from 1991 and then do that video that I still have never finished, is that I wasn't writing the whole time. I was just watching anime. Yeah. And, like, by the time it got to the end, I just, like... I didn't understand what my point was anymore.
I think I did that a little bit with my Vietnam paper too, where I wasn't taking notes on what my points were gonna be the whole time.
Right.
So I got to the end and I kind of forgot.
Well,
I was really thinking
with
about
the
a lot of
1991 video. I had written like I had written twice the like whole first half like introductory section, and I just didn't like it because it didn't get across the point I was trying to make, and I was like. And then I decided the only real way to make people understand, like, what I'm seeing is to, like, have them experience it at the same pace that I did. Like, here's the first show I watched, and here's the second show I watched, and here's why I started thinking about this.
This is fucking infinitely long, and I'm out of bombs.
Which is why I did the,
Get out.
The unscripted version, but then, like, editing it just turned out to be such a fucking nightmare that I just didn't want to do it anymore. And it was like... I didn't want to finish because I had also planned to do a like top 10 of 1991 video, but like it took so long, and like the goal was if I can do all this in a month, it'll be fine. But then the end of the month came and I hadn't finished watching all the shows, and I was just like, I don't fucking care anymore. Like, this is too much. It's not worth the amount of reward I'm getting. The pump is not there anymore. You know, like it was just too much. But it's something like Nanoha where it's like. I knew exactly how long the series was. I knew it would probably take like a few weeks to watch all of it, and I'd get 3 whole videos out of it. It was like the perfect length for a project. Yeah. And definitely the most like coming all night project was the Psychopaths
coming day and night.
Because with the Psychopaths one, I spent like 2 days just writing. Like I had finished Psychopaths and Psychopaths 2. And I just sat there and wrote forever, and that was fucking beautiful. And it was like it was crazy because I don't think I've like ever written like an analysis post where I spent so much consecutive time writing, and I had to keep getting up and like doing anything else for a little while, like go out, have a smoke, take a walk, eat something in between, like, you know, like every 4th paragraph be like, oh my god, this is so mentally taxing. Man. But then every time I'd go out to like have a smoke, I'd come up with the next point and I'd be like, oh fuck, I gotta write this point. And then it's like your fucking body aches until you finished writing that point because you can't stop thinking about it until it gets completely out onto paper, and then you have to try to make it make sense because it doesn't, because you just wrote it and it's not sensible yet. So you gotta reword it and like make it cogent.
Which is a part I will never do.
The whole section that I wrote about like in part 2 of the Psychopaths video, like I write about comparing Makishima and Kamui, the villains of the shows. I think that was in part 2, towards the end. And like I just start going in deep about it. And then there was that, deep. And then the part where I talk about like how Kogami and Makishima like metaphorically stand for their ideals and like the way that it plays out. Like writing those 2 sections and the section about suspension of disbelief, which I need to make into its own video someday. Those 3 parts of that video were like the most like intelligent I've ever felt. Like, oh my god, I am saying some good shit here.
This is pretty good shit.
Yeah. All right, next time on Digi Bros.
Next time, motherfuckers.
Maybe less of me sucking my own dick.
No,